guys are so funny. You're trying to get me to do this stupid shit. And
she just whispered, "I'm a bad bitch," for anyone who didn't hear. Stop. 420.
I'm lit at Disney.
And the kids asleep in the bath.
There we go. A ball sack station.
That's what a business owner looks like.
Are you starting?
I literally stalled. There was a part of me, I don't know if the camera caught it. I was like, what do I say?
You're like, what is this?
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Tattoo Homewreckers. This is a podcast where we talk about tattoos, life, and everything in between. My name is Callista, and this is my very best friend, Lou Barry, right next to me.
I like that when you get excited, you have to say my full name.
Lou Barry.
Yeah. You're like, ugh.
That's how I tell stories, too. I'm like, their best friend, Lou Barry. Like, if people, know who you are, but I have to keep prefacing, I don't know when I do that.
I change your name a lot, so it's either Callie or Callista.
Mm-hmm.
I should call you Callista.
Callista.
Just to make it easier for people. Callista.
I will also accept Callista.
Callista is a very personal one, so only people that I'm extra comfy with.
Fair enough.
But otherwise I pretty much Callie is for our friend group, but spelled correctly. I like how you're not attached to the spelling, but I'm very attached to the spelling. So I'm like, there's a correct spelling, and it's not the way that we wrote out the business name.
No, because it would be too many L's.
Mm-hmm.
And also
an E.
And an E, and it didn't flow well. It's funny because I was really attached to the spelling of Callie before we started the business, and then after we opened the business, I was like, nah, I don't care anymore. Yeah. Because it just looks better for aesthetics,
Yes.
And only true besties will understand that. But before we get into true besties,
yes,
and friendship, what does your gender feel like today?
Okay, so before you say "aw," because you're gonna think it's a bad thing, it's not a bad thing. So my gender today, feels like a slug in a feather boa.
Work.
Thank you. Yes, I am feeling very slug-like.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I am,
which is rare for you, I think.
Yeah.
Not normally attached to those creatures.
I am not. Y'all, we have a hedgehog in our yard.
Oh my god, we named him Herbert?
Yes,
right?
Herbert, yes.
Okay, it's Herbert.
Mm-hmm.
I could have got. I called him Hedwig.
I called him Humphrey.
It's just all the H names.
Yeah, we have a hedgehog
living in our backyard. Mm-hmm. He's so cute.
Yep, and we found out there were pests here, so if we I don't know, don't leave him out in the wild, that's not a terrible idea either.
Yeah. So we might just adopt a hedgehog.
Yeah.
But
we're getting him used to us.
Yes.
We have been feeding him.
How fun would it be to have a hedgehog just freely roam the house?
Exactly.
I would love that.
I have to do a lot more research to make sure we can properly take care of him.
Yeah,
but I will get back to you on that. If he continues to come back.
Yeah.
Then because he's not very big, he's quite small,
and it's cold outside,
and there are cats.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And apparently hedgehogs are a invasive species here, so we might adopt it.
They are.
Okay, so I'm a slug with a boa.
Mm-hmm.
Do not think about going close to that fucking paper mache.
I know. I'm watching Bailey right now. We've got some paper mache props that are drying in the other room right now, and the dogs have been very. Do you want to tell them what happened?
Guinness decided in the middle of the night that she was going to eat half of the paper mache project.
Right.
So she is now full of paper mache. But don't worry if you're oh my gosh, she can be impacted. We've been watching her for that. She has already used the restroom. She is fine.
Yeah, she's totally fine.
But that does mean that while the paper mache is finished drying before I can move it, she is eyeballing it still. So we've got it corridored off.
Yep.
But they're staring at the door that is hiding the paper mache.
They know the paper mache's in there.
She loves carbs. She's flour, water, done, bitch.
And
Thank
so do
you.
I. I also enjoy a good carb.
She said, that's pancake batter. You can't tell me different. Mm-hmm. What does your gender feel like?
My gender feels like the greasiest fucking double cheeseburger you could ever imagine in your entire life.
I'm not gonna lie, I did think you were gonna say a cheeseburger.
Really?
So I'm feeling very connected to you right now.
I feel very connected to you as well.
Yeah, I thought for sure you were gonna say you felt like a cheeseburger, and you did say that.
Yeah, I do feel like a double cheeseburger, and it feels good. So that's my hot take.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
What do you want to talk about today?
Okay, so today, you guys, I'm so excited about this. We are gonna talk about friendships, as in the pressures of platonic relationships versus romantic relationships, because we have been talking a lot about relationships lately, as we always do. and kind of had some realizations around like the reason that we can communicate the way we can is not just because we're both raised women and we are both like raised to have those conversations, but because I don't have to find her attractive.
Oh my God. It was such a key thing. And like there are certain things, we talked about this too, where it's like, I wouldn't be mad at you for doing that, but I'd be mad at the person I'm dating for doing that. You know what I mean? And we're both like, what is that? Like, why are there different rules? Is it because we don't, let's deconstruct the idea that a romantic relationship is more important than a platonic relationship.
Which is a really new concept.
Right. How new?
Within the past 150 years.
Right.
That is a new concept.
So for a lot of people, like I would say it depends if you're American.
And it also depends where you are culturally.
Right. Yes, it depends, right? But I would wager to say a lot of people don't consider that new, even though historically it is.
Yes. Well, I mean, in America, your country is only like 200 years old.
There you go.
So you think like, that's not new. You think that that's a long period of time. But when it comes to human relations, and the existence of human beings and the existence, because we know that animals also have their version of friendship, that like that is a new concept of like, hey, this one man, one woman, like we'll go with that bullshit heteronormative like idea of it, is a really new concept.
Yeah.
And it's rooted in obviously the patriarchy and misogyny. And that's why we think that romantic relationships are more important, is because it's rooted in like the patriarchy and misogyny. And also capitalism, because they benefit a lot out of this.
Oh yeah, like to construct, it's like kind of the perfect business model, right? To construct this idea that if you chase this relationship and you're consistently spending money on it, then like it just like feeds back into the monster, right?
Well, and it comes down to the fact of like one household per family means that you're going to purchase more items, because every single household is going to need an oven, a vacuum cleaner. It's going to need to have all the individual furnishings. So then you do not have a communal living situation. So really, when you had like the rise of like capitalism after the Industrial Revolution, you ended up with companies being like, hey, if we sell this idea of like, we'll use the American dream, because that's what's kind of perpetuated out throughout Western civilization, of like a husband, a wife, 2.5 kids, a dog. That means that every single household has to buy all of these things. So if I am a business, of course I'm going to push that narrative and that dream, I say in quotations, so that way you can spend more money. Because if you have communal living, so say you have, you know, multiple generations within a home, well, Grandma already has all of her like crockery that she acquired, so she's gonna bring that into the house, and then you're gonna have that same thing. So I don't need to go out and purchase all these like new items,
right?
But if when you get married, you need to go out and live on your own, then I have just as a business said, great, now you need to buy all of these things. Here's where we invent a wedding registry.
Yeah, and how do we make this like communal living kind of a taboo thing? In America, it's not really common to live with people, and we've noticed this with like Jamila Jamil was the first celebrity that I've heard openly talk about it, where it's like, yeah, me and my husband have a roommate. That's totally normal.
It's also amazing.
Yeah. It's also, well, I mean, how long have we been living together, you know? And like in America, it was much more of a weirder thing than it is here in New Zealand, I feel like. In New Zealand, people were just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know, like it's
not a big deal.
Yeah. There's a stigma against that. But anyways, yeah. So we realized that a lot of it is the fact that like we don't have to be attracted to each other.
Yes. Because here's the thing. If Callie like burps, belches, farts, any of those things that I have a lot of issues with, it does not bother me. First off, if you fart, you're like, oh my goodness. And you're always like embarrassed, surprised. And so then it's funny.
Happened without my consent.
Yes, because you didn't try to. Yeah. However, I'll talk about caboose. This morning, I'm getting ready for work. I'm already running a little bit late. I'm like stressed out, like, okay, I got to get dressed. And I am in the middle of pulling out clean clothes. And this motherfucker, with our bedroom door closed, farts like a giant fart. And all I'm thinking about is all the poop particles that are now covering our bedroom and also covering me. And I'm about to go be in close proximity to a client. And now I'm covered in your poop. Like, no, I don't appreciate that. I also don't appreciate like fart jokes or any of that, because all I think about is all the poop particles that are everywhere. And the difference there is not only is he not apologetic, but I have to find him attractive. So when he does something that's unattractive, that has a much heavier weight, because I am not, no offense, sexually attracted to you.
Oh, none taken.
I still have to say no offense, not because it hurts your feelings, but because I feel like it hurts other people's feelings.
If you guys see me looking off into the distance, like really squinting, it's because I'm making sure Guinness is not going to eat more paper mache. Sorry.
Yeah. She's trying to figure out how to open that door.
Yeah, she's so like into it.
So yeah, like if you have to be attracted to somebody, and like don't get me wrong, I am attracted to him, but then when he does things that like removes that attraction,
right,
that is a much larger consequence when we don't have those rules. I never have to kiss you or hug you.
Totally.
Which also means like if you were to hurt my feelings, it doesn't have the same weight.
Mm-hmm.
It technically is a bigger weight, but it doesn't have the same ramifications of like, I can be like, hey, that hurt my feelings. And I'm not like, fuck, now we got to go get in bed together and awkwardly go to sleep next to one another.
Totally.
We can be like, oh, I'm in a shit mood. Let me take and remove myself from the situation without those sort of consequences.
Absolutely. There's a completely different set of like, I don't know. There's like a different well, I should say. Mm-hmm. So when you're in a relationship for a really long time, it's like, okay, we don't want to take away from the well of sexual attraction. We're going to try to add to it.
Yes.
And then just to have a friendship where that well of attraction just isn't there is great.
You don't have to worry about it. It doesn't exist. You don't think about it. I'm not like, oh my God, does she look hot today? Do I want to be like none of that's there, which is great because that means that you don't have that like area of like, oh, hey, like I'm also not worried about being attractive for you.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
So I'm never worried about like, oh, do you think this looks good?
Right.
Only in the sense of like, I don't want to, go out looking like a fucking bum and like damage the reputation of the business.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
Unlike some people.
Well, some people just, my face card just doesn't decline ever. So it's kind of hard.
Lucky. I mean, it did last week.
It did last week. I had like a crazy allergic reaction last week. That was nuts. But luckily we're on the other side of things.
And your makeup skills are good enough that no one knew your face card was declining.
Honestly, that was probably the best thing to come out of that whole situation was realizing that you guys, like the people I lived with were like, we had no idea.
No.
Because my makeup is that good. And I was like, thank you.
I hadn't seen you without makeup for days. And then the first time I saw you, I was like, oh no, you're fucked.
Like, fucked. Yeah, the photos are crazy bad.
Like, I'm gonna need to take you to a hospital.
Kind of fucked. Yeah, totally. Luckily, now it's not feeling that way anymore.
Exactly.
What was I gonna say? There's a different well though. I think there is a like layer of like friendship attraction, aka like, have you ever had a friend crush on someone where it's like, oh my god, I like this person so much, I want to be their friend.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, there's a platonic. You could still have like a platonic well of attraction.
I currently have that.
Yes.
With someone besides you, because I am your friend. And I guess we are friends, but it's like a new friendship.
A new friendship.
And I have those same like butterflies, the same excitement, the same like nervousness.
Well, it's like I want to like do things for this person and I want to make this person feel special. And like it's such a beautiful...
And I want to see them all the time. So I'm like, what are you doing this weekend? What are you doing tonight? What are you doing?
Oh my God, it's been too long.
And it's what I find beautiful about like our newest friendship is that, well, first off, we have like multiple of those. We're really lucky because we like have like tattoo artist friends, we have drag queen friends, we are having all these like new feelings of like friendship where both of us are like, oh my gosh, this is great. And I think it's actually like the first time that we've had like different groups of people that are not connected that we both have that same like friendship attraction. So then we're just sitting at home being like, I wonder what they're doing. Should we text them?
Literally. And we're just excited. And then we get like, it's that like attraction of like you're stuck on your phone, not doing the thing that you're supposed to be doing because you're like having so much fun texting. Yes. I love that so much. But like I feel like with friendship attraction, it's a lot less of like farts and like burps and whatnot that affect that. For me, it's like I need to make sure that our morals are aligned.
Yes.
And like that's kind of, that sounds so gay when I talk about it like
no,
that.
It doesn't.
But like it's like making sure that like, okay, so you have the same set of like, I don't know, importance when it comes to your moral compass. Like we're pointing towards the similar directions. No one's ever perfect. No one's ever going to have the same thoughts and feelings as you about certain things. But it is really nice to see that like, okay, this person is like decent. We like align on a lot of things.
Like they're good at making repairs. We can have open conversation. I can, like speak the way I can show up authentically as myself.
Yes.
So if I'm low energy, I can still show up. If I like want to just talk about like lots of different stuff, I can just talk about lots of different stuff. And I think that like, I guess that's true because like that's an area of like romantic relationship that doesn't come for a while, really. Like we say like, oh, it's really important that you guys like have the same values. But I think that with romantic relationships, we tend to sit more in a place like, and this is just based off of like anecdotal, like listening to clients talk. Also, if you're watching on YouTube and you see like fucking purple all over my hands, it's our stencil maker broke earlier and I had to fix it. So
classic tattoo artist.
Yeah, I'm a tattoo artist. This is what our fingers look like. But yeah, I think that like that's also one of those areas where in romantic relationships, like when Caboose and I first got together, we weren't talking about that because for some reason in romantic relationships, we think that talking about those like quote unquote serious topics, like you have to earn a certain level of like credibility with that person and have that physical attraction first and like have like likability versus compatibility, which I think kind of fucks a lot of people over. Because then you're too busy being like, I want them to like me, so I'm not going to advocate for myself. I'm not going to like
totally
see if we align on like these values.
Yes.
Of like, and I'm not even talking like basic like human rights. Like, do you believe in queer rights? Do you believe that racism is fucking real? Do you believe that like, you know, white people are the worst? Whatever the fuck your belief is. I'm glad that got you to laugh. I like that you laughed so quietly that no one like listening could hear it. So they're like, ooh, edgy.
Oh no, that was funny.
It's okay. I'm part white. I can say that.
Oh my God. It's okay. I know a white person.
I know a white person. I'm married to a white person. I can say that.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Reverse. I like you were like reverse.
No, reverse on the fucking classic.
So
I can't be racist. I have an Asian wife. Like that's so fucking
exactly.
ridiculous.
I can't be racist. I have a white husband.
Literally.
But I think that like that's honestly where like as a society we've kind of like fucked ourselves over because we see it shown in movies where it's like that pursuit of each other, the being likable is the most important, where it's like no, in the beginning like is when you want to have those conversations because like your amazing therapist would say, fail fast.
Yeah, it's actually, I don't think that came from my therapist. That came from somebody else. No, mine was my therapist had told me like do the no test.
Oh yeah, you should talk about that because this is vital in friendships as well. So
it's
if you're
also,
like new to a friendship or you've recently had like a friendship breakup and you're like, why the fuck did this happen?
Totally.
You probably didn't do this test early enough.
Yeah, and the test is really it can be really uncomfortable, but I feel like it's worth it in every aspect of like either, I don't know, any aspect of a relationship. You should definitely try this out because it tells you a lot about the person. My therapist told me do the no test. So really early on, say no and see how they react. So it could be as simple as like, oh, hey, like, can we go out to dinner? And then you being like, yeah, sure. Where do you want to go? I want to go out to Indian food. No, thank you. I'm not into Indian food. And like it's even small stuff like that, you can really tell like somebody's character, because if they continue to push you into like, but this restaurant's really good, or like why or whatever the fuck, then like, you know, it's a good like indicator of like, okay, how is this person going to react when I have boundaries?
Also, just as someone who literally just asked someone why they didn't like a restaurant. I'm feeling mildly attacked.
Oh, sorry.
There's a difference between curiosity and being like, hey, I would like to know why. Because like we just found out that someone doesn't like one of our favorite restaurants. We're like, do you not like this type of food? Like, I just want to know why so I can catalog it and be like, okay, that type of food is like
a no-go.
Off. Like Brazilian food tends to be a lot of meat. So I don't tend to like Brazilian food. So it's easy if you're like, okay, Brazilian restaurants are not it for Lou.
Yeah, there's a difference between curiosity and like, you know, if someone reply, because I think that's the thing with like neurospicy people though, is like neurospicy people tend to ask a lot more questions about stuff like that. So again, like kind of be wary. Maybe that wasn't the best.
No, I think example. That is, because I think just the caveat is you can feel the difference.
Right.
You like, that's the thing that I've noticed. Like with you, you're like, oh, I feel like it could be it. And only every once in a while I'm like, do I like push back to be like, do you think it's that? Or do you think it's maybe this? But for the most part, like you can feel the difference. And I think that's the only caveat I give, but I wanted to like be like, hey, if you like me or no spicy and you say, oh no, I just asked someone, or like, I was like, hey, would you be willing to like try this place?
Would you be willing to try it again? Or whatever?
And also then if that person's like, no, I wouldn't, then you're like, okay, awesome. Like I respect that. And like encouraging people's no is also really important, but that's the next step. Sorry.
Oh yeah. Encouraging people's no's is important when, this happened early on in our friendship. And I think we've had the same example in several episodes, but I'm going to say it again because it's a good example. Both Lou and I had a plan with a mutual friend to go to like IKEA or something. That's like a 2.5 hour drive or whatever.
Yes, like one way, 2.5 hour drive.
Yeah. And you messaged me, I think it was like maybe 30 minutes before we were supposed to leave or something like that. Like, hey, I'm sorry. Like, I just can't today. I'm too tired. And I was like, oh, okay, that's totally fine.
Yeah.
Like, work, you know, do you.
And it took me
rest, recharge.
all morning to get the courage to send that message.
Right.
And there had been lots of tears involved. And I was like, oh my God, they're going to hate me. And then Caboose was like, just tell them no.
Yeah.
Just do it. Just be like, hey, I'm so sorry, you guys. He's like, because you're going to push through this and you're going to like
not be good.
Make yourself sick.
Yeah.
He's like, so just tell them no.
Yeah, totally. And I have a lot more respect for people also who say no to things like that, knowing your limit because, you know, like, not in a shitty way, but I don't want to hang out with you if you're like dying. You know what I mean?
I agree. If you don't want to be here, I don't want to be with you.
If you're going to be like grumpy and like, you know, I can tell the vibes aren't right, then like, we don't need to do this, you know? Take care of yourself first. But it's important to like, again, encourage people when that happens. When it's like, oh my God, seriously, don't worry about it. Like, because it's acknowledging like how hard it could be. Even if it's not hard for them, it's still acknowledging like, hey, I respect you. Like, I'm glad you said something. Don't worry about it.
Absolutely.
And then that mutual friend had the adverse reaction, which is like, oh my God, why? Like trying to guilt you into like still doing it kind of thing.
Yeah. It made me feel really guilty. It made me feel really shitty. And it reaffirmed like that belief system that I had, which is that if I establish a boundary with people, they are going to be like, nah, bitch, I'm done with you. And that's happened like a lot, which is why I love the like fail fast.
Yeah. I think that must have come from the internet or something.
I don't know. I heard it from you.
Oh.
So yeah, you're the one that started to be like, hey, fail fast.
Yeah.
Like, just say no fast.
Yeah.
Just put up those boundaries. Be like, hey, this is not going to work for me. Because at the end of the day, you're either going to be a version of this person, and this goes for romantic relationships or friendships. You're either going to be a version that's not authentically you, and then you're going to be like, wow, they don't even love me. They don't know me. Or you're going to show up as yourself, and they're going to be like, I'm actually not into that. And you go, okay, dope. And that can either be 2 months in, or that can be a year in. So like doing the, like you said, like starting out with that, like, no, like really early on, just to like test it. And also just being like, you know what, it's worth the risk, saves you years of like investing in relationships, whether it's romantic, platonic, doesn't matter, whether it's a work relationship. It saves you all this time to then be like, okay, now I know that this person's going to genuinely like be there for me. Because that was such a big like pivotal moment for me, because you were just like, dope.
Oh yeah.
Get lots of rest. Take care of yourself. Let me know if you need anything. And I was like, holy shit, this person's like not mad at all.
Right, because like that's again is a solid indicator of kind of what their intentions are with you as well, and what friendship looks like to them.
Yeah.
And so I feel like a lot of people too can unintentionally, that I feel like I'm speaking for like more codependent people, can unintentionally put that pressure on people and be like, oh no, I was like really looking forward with this, blah, blah, blah. Like, and that's kind of their like weird way of like being like, do you hate me because you're canceling? Which ain't cute. No. It's like, you know, you get a handle on that. I'm not saying it's your fault if you have an anxious attachment or if you find yourself being more codependent. It's not your fault, but it is your responsibility to figure that shit out.
And to be clear, you can have those conversations. If you have a good relationship, like, we just had this conversation where somebody new just got to see your tired face and her tired face when you, like myself, have like more of an anxious attachment where you're convinced that everyone's mad at you.
Yeah.
Even if they're not, it can then read as like, oh my God, did I upset her? And it's a really like hard place to sit in, because then I'll start to be like, oh my God, well, you did say this, well, you did do that. Did you piss her off because you didn't put away the dishes? So she's mad about that. And I run through like a plethora,
like every little thing,
and like when
that
she's
happened
tired,
with this person as well.
Yes.
This person ran through like every scenario that could have possibly been like the thing that made me upset or something like that.
And like, to be clear, you don't ask when that person is tired or when you're spiraling.
No,
you calm yourself down and you say, hey, I don't think it's that, but I will go back and double check. And that checking is how you build that like security of like, oh, hey, so I know that like if she's just cranky, she is tired, fucking whatever, stressed, thinking about other shit. It's not actually on me. And that's still, and we've been friends now for 7 years. And that's still a part of my like thinking is I'm like, oh my God, she's going to move out. She's going to fucking leave the business. She's like, I immediately go there where I'm like, she's like, bye bitch, I'm moving. I hate you. Close the business. I have nothing to do with you. And I'm just like hyperventilating inside of myself. And then I have to be like, hey, I had these thoughts. And then you get to be like, I'm sorry you had those thoughts. Also, that's hilarious. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And we get to like work through them together, but not when you're tired do I go, hey.
Because that's like, first of all, it's kind of awkward, right?
Oh, yeah. I'm like, you're exhausted. Let me bombard you. Which I will say, I think that's like one of the biggest problems with like actual romantic relationships. Is because when you're tired, let's do this right now. Because one or both of you will not just be able to have healthy space and to come back to it.
Right. Absolutely.
Like, I think that's like one of the biggest things is that like we can also just have conversations because Caboose and I talk about this where you and I just have conversations and then he'll be like, that was such a hard conversation. And I'm like, that's like a Tuesday for Callie and I.
For sure. Whereas like, hey, I don't know. Hey, sorry for snapping at you. Like,
yeah,
I'm just like, I don't know. I didn't sleep well last night. Right. Like putting it out in the air, I feel like can be like really hard in romantic relationships. Because again, there's that layer of like, this well is so fragile of like attraction. Like I want to make sure that like we're still good. And I think if we were to apply again the same level of rules, it's hard because we've been programmed all of our lives to believe that your romantic relationship is going to be like end all be all, the most important relationship of your entire fucking life. And that means that like you're so scared to fuck it up that like you unintentionally fuck it up.
Yes.
Right? Like
yes, I think that's
you unintentionally hurt each other because like it's that like classic like what is it called? Like self-fulfilling prophecy on both ends. Like we're accidentally scarring each other. Whereas with friends, it's like even though that you and I basically are as close as being married without being married. Yes. Because of the business, because of the way we live our life together, because we love each other. Yes. Gay. But there still isn't this like self-sabotage aspect. Well, I don't know how to describe it.
I think it's because I think it's exactly like what you're saying. Like it's so right where it's like there isn't this like external pressure on us to be like, well, you guys are married, you have to be together. For me, it actually feels the opposite where people like, obviously people love our relationship and our friendship and I'm very grateful for it. But because there isn't this like external idea of what our relationship needs to be, we don't come in with a set of rules. So we got to make our own like idea of like, hey, this is what it looks like to us.
Yes.
And approach it like that. And I find that it's so much harder in romantic relationships because even like I keep telling Caboose that where I'm like, we get to decide what these rules are. And as someone who like lives by that and subscribes to that, I still fall prey to like, okay, when he's doing like all the cooking or if he's like cleaning the house, I'm like, oh my God, I feel guilty because he's cleaning and I'm supposed to do this. So even when you know that they're patriarchal systems of bullshit to control you and to keep you in this like shitty cycle, you can very easily fall in that cycle. And I do think that it takes like men a lot longer because they are obviously the people that benefit from this cycle. It takes them a lot longer to get there.
Yeah.
So then as a woman, you also have the like idea of, okay, well, I'm a nag if I bring stuff up. I feel like I'm constantly having to like tell you how to see me and pay attention to me because men have been taught to, and before you say it, I know it's not all men, but I'm talking about like the patriarchal system that teaches men this.
The universal men.
Yes, the universal men that the patriarchy teaches men to ignore women and to ignore other people's feelings, which is why men can seem aloof and oblivious, is because in order for them to do what they need to do to survive within the patriarchy, they have to ignore other people.
Yes.
So, yes.
And that's like, so again, an added layer of like, a really hard time. And I think too with men, I'm just gonna like sidetrack us really fast. We're gonna get like sidetracked really fast. I in the past used to have a really hard time not romanticizing my healthy male friendships because I was like, oh, this person is being really kind to me. That must mean that like, you know, oh my goodness, like, is there something there? Like, is he flirting with me or is he just genuinely like being kind? And then realizing, no shit, like, this is 100% platonic.
Yes.
Because it was so rare at that point for me to like meet another man that was just genuinely kind of like, you have to been into me, right?
Yeah.
And then realizing like, no, it was never that. That was me. Like, it was like, oh shit, it's so deeply rooted also in my side that I'm like, oh my God, like you actually heard me, or like you're asking about my day. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, you're like, wait, why are you asking about my day?
Totally.
What alternative motives?
No, exactly.
I'm like, and it's because we're taught that. Like,
yes.
it's in all of our media. It's in like everything that we consume all the time is like, hey, like it's that idea of like friend zoning, which I say that in quotations. It's not a real fucking thing. But it's that idea of like, oh no, he's only your friend because you failed at a romantic relationship with him. But not that like, no, people can just like be friends. Like, I was really fortunate that like my best friend was a guy for several years. And well, I've had that like a couple times, but like my other best friend that would have been as close, like the closest I had to you was a guy, and we were not remotely attracted to each other.
100%.
And we got
and
the
rest
same
of
thing.
Society, like,
oh yeah,
like really like pressures you and
it was like,
and...
no, she's married, and I'm like, what does that have to do anything? I don't want to. Neither one of us like have ever had an inkling to do anything physical. That's disgusting. And it's the same way I feel with you, where it's like, just because everyone else is like, oh, you're gay, so you have to like be like that. I'm like, no,
totally.
Yeah. But I forgot there was another topic that I wanted to talk about.
Oh man, about female friendships specifically, or like male friendships, or
about like the pressures of like romantic like relationships versus platonic relationships. Because we've talked at length about this, and now I get on here and I forget.
That's okay. It do be like that. I think
like that.
Romantic relationships too. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're so wonderful and they're so fun, but like in certain aspects, again, the patriarchy really gets in the way. If you're in like any kind of heterosexual relationship, the patriarchy really does get in the way of like having this like connection that you would have with if you're a woman with another woman, or like female presenting, or like someone in the queer community, because the way that we speak to each other is so incredibly different than the way that like cishet men speak to each other. And cishet men speak to everyone else as well. And I'm not on this podcast to bash cishet men. I think being bisexual, part of being bisexual is, yes, I am attracted to men, period. That's just how it is. That's how I know sexuality is not a fucking choice. But like, for example, I think it's really hard to like get into the same kind of like energy aspect of things when like you meet someone and it's like firecrackers in a friendship and you're having this and you match their energy.
Oh yeah.
Cishet men aren't taught to do that. So to meet a man that is wonderful, but like also unfortunately most of them don't know how to do that. And again, they're going through an entire lifetime of deprogramming or really programming, deprogramming that entire lifetime of programming. You guys know what I mean.
And then it's hard because then you do meet the occasional man that does like match the energy, and then you find out that he's just a psychopath.
Oh my God.
So you're like, oh, he was like a narcissistic abuser and that's why he matched your energy.
Brother, oh my God. Something that like we both found out this year was like, I had realized like it's not like the abuse that I'm attracted to. It's not the toxicity that I'm attracted to. It's the fact that like with toxic men, they do at least fill space and time with events.
Yes.
And like, that's like...
Please explain more, because I'm sure people are like, wait, what the fuck?
So I don't know if you guys have ever seen that like, that episode of Parks and Recreation where Donna meets a really nice guy. I'm just going to lay it out for you. There's a character named Donna. She's known to like date around. She never settles down because she's a bad bitch, whatever. Anyways, she ends up meeting this really nice guy, and like, she's into him and he's really into her, but she's just like, I don't know, like... I don't know about this one. I don't know. And then Ron Swanson had to like sit her down and say like, don't mistake drama for entertainment, you know? And unfortunately it is entertaining. Like that's the one thing that I will say.
But I mean, it's true though.
But at the expense of your mental health though is not great.
No, but I mean, that's the thing. Like when you talk about like long-term marriages, like it's not like you're like, hey, we're doing stuff all the time and we're like, having the most interesting conversations. No, it's a lot of like boring stuff. It's telling me about your day.
Yes.
And your day's kind of boring, or you're telling me about like whatever. And
well, that's like stable love is not going to be like the sitcom that you want it to be.
Yes.
You know, or like the fucking like
it's not
reality
the highlight
TV.
Reel. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the highlight reel. It's not reality TV. Y'all are going to get bored, and like you have to like be with someone that like
is kind of boring
and
to have like a healthy thing. Because I mean, and I think that's like great because that reminded me what I wanted to talk about.
Oh, great.
About that difference between like male and female relationships is that women are taught to match that energy.
Yes.
So then our relationship doesn't feel as boring because if you're like, hey, I like this happened, they're like, yes, bitch, okay. And then because we've been friends for so long, we also know where it's like, hey, do you want like boring advice? Do you want me to fucking put my therapist hat on and tell you about, I'm not an actual therapist, or in New Zealand, a counselor. But like, do you want me to put that hat on, my clinical hat that says, okay, let's talk about why you're feeling this way, what's happening here, what wounds are coming up. So my boring advice, or do you want me to be like a queen with you? And we will be like, yes, bitch, let's go.
Yeah.
Like, we will absolutely boots the house down. Yes. Like, lots of tea, lots of drama. I will match your energy.
How are we addressing the campfire?
Yes.
Do you want more kerosene, or would you like to put it out now?
Yes.
Which
do you
one?
want to safely put
Or do you
this
want to
out?
roast marshmallows?
Yes. You want to roast marshmallows, or do you want to add some fucking, like, kerosene to this?
Yes.
Get it to go up, and then we can watch it come down.
Have you seen savory s'mores? It's where they heat up brie cheese and do crackers instead.
What?
Brother, that's what I was saying.
What the fuck? We have a fire pit.
We should fucking make savory s'mores.
It's wintertime. This is the perfect time for that.
Oh my god, I forgot that it's wintertime. I was like, oh, too bad it's
wintertime.
June.
It's June here, so it's winter.
It's winter. We should do savory s'mores.
I agree. We should.
Oh
also sweet s'mores.
Also sweet
Caboose
s'mores.
loves sweet s'mores. But one of the things we were talking about the other day that you said that I thought was like so beautiful was that like when you're in a romantic relationship, there is a level of like mourning that romantic relationship will never be the same as your platonic relationships.
Yeah, totally.
Because again, you don't have to have the same pressure on your platonic relationships as you do on romantic. So you and I can say anything to the other person and never risk either one of us. Also, if you guys can hear a weird like noise in the background, it is not people having sex. It is Caboose building stairs for me. It does
sound like a bed frame.
It does, yeah. Well, he is hand sawing wood down there, so he doesn't bother us. Yeah, so he doesn't bother us.
Oh, that's
He's a
so
really
sweet.
good husband. Because he has to build stairs for drag shows. So, yeah, perfect, amazing husband. But there is that level that like, say when him and I are in conflict where I am so sad and frustrated because it would be squashed in less than a fucking second. You and I would never get to that level of conflict.
Of like sad and heartbreak and
Yes, of being heartbroken, of not being seen, or any of that, because I can tell you anything and it can be the most fucked up thing that I can be like, this is awful. And you will just be like open to that, to be like, okay, well, I love you. Yeah. Even though you told me that. And so where it's like, okay, like we'll just be extra vulnerable. Like I'm back in a really bad place with my eating disorder. I'm not going to lie. I did think I conquered it. And I finally realized that it's forever. So I did not.
That's a big step though.
So,
you know,
this is me forever, always dealing with it.
Yeah.
But like when I told you about it, I like that you're also tearing up.
Misty-eyed. Man, the people who were listening would have had no idea if it weren't for you.
Whatever. I'm also tearing up. But like when I told you, you were just like, okay, well, what do we need to do? Like, I love you. Like, I just felt like a blanket of love. And when I told Caboose, he was like, just shut down.
Yeah.
And like, and got defensive and like essentially like blamed me. Don't worry. He then like admitted like, hey, I said that because I went back to him and was like, that was really shitty. And he's like, I was feeling really defensive because I thought you were okay. And I don't know what to say. And so when I'm vulnerable with him, because he was raised in the patriarchy as a man, he does not know how to hold space for vulnerability without it feeling like a direct attack against him as a man. So if I say, hey, that hurts me, he hears it as you're not good enough. And that's that fundamental difference, is that like when you tell a woman or someone you are not romantically involved in, because it's easy too for us women that if he says, hey, I'm hurt, we're like, well, I'm not a good wife. I'm not a good partner.
Totally.
Because we tend to think of ourselves when we were romantically involved with someone as the person that's supposed to be to fix it.
Yeah.
So we like...
And also like an extension of yourself, which in some cases can be true. Like socially, I think can be true.
Oh, well, only because society tells you that.
Absolutely. So it's hard to like get into when you're like constantly socially like, oh, you're an extension of each
Absolutely,
other.
yes.
Then behind closed doors, it's the same thing. It's like hard to deprogram, like not justifying the numbers of cops like beating their wives. That's fucking horrible. But it's the whole like you're trained to be aggressive.
Yes.
You can't just turn that off when the doors are closed.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like
which is what's so fucked up about that, because you train them to be aggressive.
Yeah.
And then you say, wait, why are you being aggressive? Or not expect it or not know that that's going to happen. And that's not on the women that this is happening to. That's society for fucking backing these men up and women.
I shouldn't have to say it, but if you hit women, you're a piece of shit and I hate you. But anyways, also... ACAB. But anyways, I should have said like aggressive sports in particular.
Oh, well, I mean, they also have a higher level of abuse.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like MMA fighters, like...
Well, yeah. And
just
it's because you
like,
teach them this is how you express yourself.
Yeah.
And that's how they learn how to express themselves.
So with relationships, not to be like, oh, well, you guys are just fucking abusing each other once the doors are closed. But it is hard to like not see each other as an extension of each other, and then therefore when one person's in pain, take the blame.
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, then it's my fault. And then like you said, it's also the fix it. Like, oh God, like, you know, now I'm defensive because like, I'm the person who did this.
Exactly. Because I feel like a failure for not like fixing it and not knowing.
Yeah.
But it is that case of like when you deliver that news to friends, and friends do not feel responsible for fixing it. In most cases, some relationships they do, at which point I would address that. And it's the same thing with our romantic relationships, but in romantic relationships through media, so through TV shows, through movies, all of that, we are taught that our romantic partner is supposed to fix everything.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be the person that says, hey, I know how to do this. I am your like end all be all. I am everything you've ever wanted me to be. And like, that's what we consume all the time. Everything from cartoons to movies show us that, to songs, like all of that is like, hey, I have to be everything. So the idea that someone else can come in and fill that is a threat to that concept of romantic love.
Totally.
And I think that's the like difference, is that like you have freedom, like you have friends outside of me. It would be weird if you didn't.
Totally.
But I know that's like weird for people, because people are like, is it like hard for you when she like meets new people? And I'm like, no, that would be weird.
No, it'd be super weird.
If like I was the only person in her life and she
it'd
was
be
the only person in my life.
Again, like you guys are kind of mistaking like a controlling relationship to be true love as well.
Yes.
You know, it'd be like me being weirded out that you have chats with other people. Like, what the fuck? Like, that's...
Oh my God.
That's like
we both have conversations with other people?
Wild.
Scandal.
Yeah.
Insane.
Can't be friends anymore.
How would you get different... At that point, how do you get different tea, y'all? If you don't have like a multitude of friends, how do you get to hear? She has whole like other like relationships of people I've never met, and I know their names so well because I get to hear about what's going on in their lives. And I get to ask like, what's the tea on that? What's this?
Yeah. Oh my God. Did you get a follow-up? What happened here? Yeah.
So if you are a type of person that you're like, oh no, what if my friends make other friends and that's like hard for me? Remember, having additional friends is like watching a new TV show. You want them to have different stuff so you can hear like what's going on in other people's shit. And you get to hear about other people's drama and you don't have to be a part of it.
Yeah.
That's great. It's one of the best things.
It's the best kind of drama.
Yes.
But yeah, I think that like, again, it's that mourning of like different, because like, again, there's no way that like I could, I guess, like feel defensive about that. But as a partner, I do see how one could feel defensive about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's like, oh no.
Because you're like, I'm not responsible for your fucking eating shit.
No, I think I said that before.
Yeah.
Like the first time around, like and not in a shitty way, but like that's all on you, dude. Like unfortunately, that is one thing that I truly like cannot fix.
Yeah.
Or like I guess like I can be supportive, but like it's also something I can't offer help on, if that makes sense. You can support someone through it, but like I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. I would say you definitely help, because you help me uncover stuff where I'm like, hey, I had this realization, like when you do this around food, like that's what happens for me. And you're like, oh, that makes so much sense.
Oh yeah, different layers
and
of like this action. Yeah.
Yeah, and it is the difference between, again, like when you approach it as not having, I guess, like in your sense, like you have no responsibility for it, which means you are not attached to the outcomes as like, I don't know how to explain it, like as something you're responsible for, so you don't carry the weight of that. So I'm like, hey, when you make a big deal about food in a restaurant, that triggers me in a really bad way. I won't go into detail, but basically like it causes a lot of trauma. And then you were like, yeah, I get flooded, I get overwhelmed. And then I just get to a place where I'm like, I don't want to eat around other people. which is like a huge crux for me anyway. And then you were just like, oh, that makes so much sense why that would be the case. But when I then like not even like 2 hours later tried to have that same conversation with Caboose and he just shut down again. He like did not know what to do in that situation. And then he had to ask me, he was like, okay, so what should I do? Like, what should I do in like a restaurant? Whereas you were like, okay, that makes sense. And you didn't ask me to like tell you what to do. And I'm like, I don't know how to do this. Like,
well, yeah, I feel like
don't know.
That's the thing. It's like, it's your first time here too, right? Like,
yeah.
So I also think that is like again, I'm not here to bash men, but that is a very like male trait to be like, I need you to like give me an instruction manual on how to take care of this when you don't even know.
Yes.
So it's a lot more emotional and mental labor on you on top of already having this wound, right?
Absolutely.
So I think I've said this on the podcast before as well. It's kind of like going on a hike with someone, you've broken your ankle, and this person's like, can you hold this?
Yes.
My ankle's already broken. Like,
you're like, what? Dude, I'm the person.
I'm already holding my own shit. And now my ankle's also broken.
Yes.
And now you're asking me to hold your backpack too.
Whereas
like, that's a lot.
In friendships, you can be like, hey, dude, I can't hold my backpack. I just broke my fucking ankle.
Right.
And before you even, in good relationships, before you're even like, I can't hold my book bag, you're like, hey, I broke my ankle.
Oh
and
my
they
God,
go, give me your book bag, bitch.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah, let's take a look at it if you want.
Yeah.
But like also, let me hold that for you because what the fuck?
Let me be here. Let me grab this shit. I got you.
Yeah.
And that is that like difference between like romantic relationships in the like heterosexual patriarchal sense. I can't speak for like queer relationships.
Yeah, I was gonna say like to say that it's just heterosexual relationships, and I'll take this back because I have been saying it's just heterosexual relationships is not true, because any relationship that is directly affected by the patriarchy and has its dynamics built off of the patriarchy is affected by this.
Yes.
Yeah,
where you have the like, you know, person that makes all the decisions, i.e. woman. And then you have the man who has to be told what to do, who doesn't know the duties around the house and all that kind of shit. Or if you have one person who's like, oh, I feel bad because I never cook. And the other person's like, oh, I'm always doing the cooking. That is that patriarchal belief structure that like infiltrates that.
Totally.
And so I think that's like, because again, like we volley back and forth so easily on stuff because being both raised as women, we get to be like, okay, well, we get to fucking decide what things we do, what things we don't do.
Totally.
I love doing laundry, so every time you're out of the house, I'm sneaking doing laundry because this bitch hates it.
I hate it.
You cook, and she just happens to leave tons of leftovers and then dips out for a couple days. And I'm like, oh, well, looks like I'm eating a fucking caramel apple pie. Or lasagna. Thanks.
Period.
Eating someone else's birthday lasagna. Let's go.
Whatever.
Stolen food is the best food.
Yeah, period.
But it is that thing of like, we get to just highlight each other's strengths without the patriarchal system being like, well, you are a woman, so you should want to do these things. So therefore it's a shortcoming for you to not want to.
Right. Which is
so
silly.
I think that's like the other part of like romantic relationships that like doesn't get pushed into platonic relationships.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So basically you should only be friends with people, never get romantically
involved.
Yeah. Just kidding. Just kidding.
You probably also want to get into romantic relationships, but just understand that they are totally different and they can't ever actually compare to one another.
No.
Because you're never going to give me an orgasm.
And I don't want to.
Thank you. You just fucking interrupted.
Well, too bad.
And that's why you'll never give me an orgasm. Anywho, I'm going to fucking say my joke.
Oh, yeah.
You will never give me an orgasm, and he will not be able to just, like, know what it is I need in a moment.
Period. And that's...
So it's perfect.
And, again, this is why...
You need multiple relationships.
And it's, again, oh, my God, I can't believe we've been talking about relationships and friendships without even fucking covering this. This is the last thing I'm going to cover. It is really unfair to expect one person to tick all of those boxes.
Yes.
So before you're upset that like, oh no, like my husband, my boyfriend, my girlfriend, whatever, will never get me the way that my friends get me, or never have the same banter that my friends have with me. They can't fill every single role. And that's kind of the point. That's why the whole like, it takes a village should be applied to not just having a child. It takes a village to genuinely survive and have a good time.
Yes.
So
yes, and that also goes, you hear how she said friends plural? That's because you have more than one friend.
Totally.
Because I do not fulfill all of her friendship buckets.
Absolutely.
She likes terrible shows. I'm not always the person to watch them with her.
Yep.
She has other people to watch them. I like really nerdy stuff. She does not want to sit here and watch 7 hours of architectural like programs with me.
Unfortunately not.
No. So I have other people I can then talk to about architecture. So like you're meant to have a lot of relationships in your life, and that is beautiful.
That's the point.
Yep.
Dude.
Okay. So on that note, before our battery dies, what's your win for the week?
Oh, my win for the week is keeping my head on my shoulders. I've been really fucking stressed about a lot of things, but then like as most stress goes, I like just need a moment to myself, and I'm like, oh, you got this.
Yes,
you know what 100%. I mean? Like,
100%.
I'm like, oh, am I like, is it actually the end of the world, or like, am I just in a heightened emotional state and I just needed to? So
that's growth, baby.
That's fucking growth.
That's so good.
That's my win. What's your win for the week?
My win for the week, is probably talking about being in a bad place with the fucking food stuff again.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
That's a good win. That's a really good win. And it makes you very human, and like people will relate to that, you know?
Well, thanks, because you don't ever talk about your humanness, but that's fine. That's
I had an allergic reaction, you guys. Damn.
Yeah.
I didn't go into it.
We should do an episode on your
me being human.
Yes.
Versus being
Callista's
a robot.
Human.
Absolutely. I'm down to do a vulnerable
perfect
episode.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then what are you
proud
of today? Yes.
Oh, I am so proud of what am I proud of today? I'm so proud of getting a video out, and it was a lot of work, and it bombed, not getting a lot of likes.
That's
at all.
crazy.
But guess what?
Good.
For once, I'm like, that's okay. Oh my God. I'm like fully detached to the outcome. I'm like, wow. You know how long it's been since I felt that way? Like normally if I spend like over 3 hours on a video, I'm like, it better fucking hit. And this one bombed, and I was like, yeah, that's all right.
Yeah. So the important people liked it.
There were there's so many details of that video that took a long time. Anyways, what are you proud of for
Don't
today?
minimize that. That's awesome.
Thank you.
And also, as your business partner, thank you for putting in that work. Because I get to directly benefit. Because the amount of people that are like, I found your shop because of social media. I'm like,
It does make me happy.
Not me.
Yeah, that does make me really happy.
So thank you for getting tattooed by me. I didn't do that. She did.
I'm down for it.
My it's what I'm proud of today?
Yeah.
I am proud of the fact that when Caboose told me that Guinness, he came in this morning and was like, hey, I have some really bad news. Guinness ate the paper mache. And I was like, oh no, like I hope she's okay. And he was so prepared for me to be mad about the paper mache because it means I have to redo it. Because I'm building like a giant ice cream cone and that has to be done for myself. And I was not the slightest bit upset. I was worried about whether or not she would be okay. But I was like, nope, not in this. I'm like, whatever. I'll just fucking paper mache more stuff. Like, it's not a big deal.
That's a good one.
Yeah. And so that's what I'm proud of, is that in that moment, genuine reaction was just like, well, that's kind of hilarious that like she got to feast on that thing and she's fine. But like that's all I thought was like, I hope she had a good time.
And she did.
Like, yeah, that's it.
And she did.
Still trying to go back for seconds.
Oh, yeah.
But on that note, thank you guys so much. Like, subscribe, share our shit, just so that way more people can find the chaos that is us. And I think that's it for us.
That's it. So that's a wrap, folks.
We'll be back next week. We will actually be back next week with a guest. I was going to say a guest artist. She is an artist.
She's an artist.
Guest on
the podcast.
There you go. Perfect.
But she's been here for longer than we have. So
yeah. A Kiwi tattoo artist. So
why was that so hard to...
I have no idea.
Anyways.
I was going to say guest spot, but that's like exclusively for tattoos.
For real.
So, okay. We love you guys. Thank you so much. Bye.